My remarks are very brief. There are too many betters of me in this room who have thought about these matters. So, in addition to being brief, I hope they will be provocative. They are intended to be. I may also say that I brought one copy of my book, which I will give to whoever convinces me that I can reconcile the manifest image with the scientific image.
Oh, right.
So, as I say somewhere in a part of my book, widely ridiculed, there's nothing but fermions and bosons. That's what reality is composed of. And that, I think, is why Sean asked me to start today. But I don't think that we should trouble ourselves discussing the details of particle physics, especially in the presence of Steven Weinberg. I certainly don't hold that physics has bottomed out, and perhaps it won't ever bottom out in, say, superstring theory or some equally fundamental way of reconciling quantum field theory and general relativity. But naturalism and our view of the nature of reality doesn't require us to take sides on matters at the frontiers of physics. All it requires, I think, is two features of physics which are fixed and unlikely, and I mean that with very grave confidence, to be changed in the subsequent development of physics, no matter where it goes, and that have been fixed in physics for a very long time. And those two features of physical theory are its resolute denial of teleology of any kind.
You're going to tell us what teleology is, right?
Actually, I thought that was a word that would be common coin around the table, but I simply mean it denies, physics has no role for, and in fact has shown that there is not in the universe any kind of either backward causation from the future pulling events in some trajectory, or any imminent causation that involves some kind of a representation of what the future is like, and which organizes things in order to attain that, whether it's God or something inside of nature, imminent or eminent. So the denial of purpose, goal, end seems to me a feature that physics has maintained ever since Newton, and is unlikely ever to be removed from physics, that no successor theory to the succession of theories that have been advanced since Newton is likely to include any scope for such causal processes. And the second is the second law of thermodynamics.
And so let me just parenthetically say, so an interesting thing we don't need to discuss right now, but to put on the table is, if we buy that particle physics and fundamental physics has no teleology in it, is it nevertheless useful to talk about emergent phenomena in the world as if they are teleological? You know, the length of the neck of the giraffe, does it serve a purpose?
Right, so I might say we can certainly help ourselves to purposive teleological functional vocabulary, but in doing so we understand that we are engaging in a somewhat misleading set of metaphors, in the way, of course, that evolutionary biologists do when they talk about design problems, without any commitment whatsoever to designers or to any process in nature that could properly be called designing. So in that sense, we're allowed to help ourselves to it, but if we took that matter, if we took that lingo seriously, there'd be no difference between Newtonian mechanics and Aristotelian mechanics, and there's a big difference. And the second thing that I think physics has made a fixed point for all of the other disciplines is the second law of thermodynamics, and everything that happens in the universe had better be not just compatible with the second law of thermodynamics, but be driven by the second law, because that is the source of all the asymmetry in the cosmos. Yes, all the time asymmetry. Right. And I think there's no other asymmetries besides the time asymmetries, or what is produced by the time asymmetries. So this brings me to the matter that will, of course, be touched upon this afternoon and probably regularly through the rest of the weekend, and in which I will be in the snarling chorus with Steven Weinberg, and that is reductionism. Okay, reductionism, and here I'm going to use some jargon is a metaphysical thesis. It says basically that there's no downward causation and that the physical is causally closed. That is, that everything that happens is a matter of causes and effects to be understood at their fundamental level in physics. That insofar as there appears to be anything like downward causation or emergentism, those appearances reflect temporary ignorance. And that the explanatory autonomy of higher levels of disciplines that explain phenomena at higher levels of organization than physics is an epistemic thesis. The explanatory autonomy of these disciplines is an epistemic thesis and not a metaphysical thesis, and it reflects human cognitive limitations and human cognitive interests and no fundamental facts about the organization of reality. And I want to stop there because I put enough hostages to fortune on the table that we could easily spend the rest of the weekend on this agenda.